All right, so good morning, everyone. So I guess we're going to start now. So we are the Small Business Development Center. My name is David Garcia. I'm joined by our intake coordinator and secretary. Her name is Kayla Montez, and also my colleague, Gifty Ostrander. So here we're presenting business basics. So yeah, we're going to start off and I think it's really basics. We're not gonna get too much into the weeds of everything, but if you do have questions, you can put it in the chat or maybe you can raise your hand. Kayla will be monitoring. So just let me know if you guys can hear me okay, and then we'll get started. Good. All right, perfect. Okay, so here at the Small Business Development Center, we get you guys thinking about why do you want to go into business? So and we're going to touch on a lot of topics here today. And so we are the Small Business Development Center. We offer no-cost solutions and one-on-one advising. So we have a team of people that can help you, and they specialize in different areas. So any question you have, we can figure it out. And we have a research network as well. So there's a lot of products and services that we can offer. And so these services, like I said, they're no cost. And our services, they last as long as you guys need us. So that's one of the benefits of working with the Small Business Development Center is that you may be in a journey in business, which every business is a journey. So we want to offer our services as long as you guys need us. And so here's our team. This is our current team right now. So we're looking to expand, and we have a couple others that are going to be joining our team. But Willa Smith, she's our regional director for this center, for Stony Brook. And then we have Gifty, who's joining us today. She works in finance and disaster recovery. As I was saying, each person kind of specializes in their own. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And we have colleagues around. If they don't have the answer, we lean on each other. So we have Ree Wackett. She works with the Minority Women Business Enterprise and Procurement and International Trade. And Kayla, who's right next to me, she's our receptionist. She does the intake coordinating. We have Bob Harrison. Bob Harrison, who is our manufacturing supply chain. And then you have me. I have some background in finance, construction management, and I'm also bilingual. So I do help the Spanish speakers as well. And then we have Keisha Butler as our business assistant. So to begin, we're going to ask the question, are you an entrepreneur? This is a really important question. A lot of people, they start off working a job and they want to get into business, but need to have sometimes a mind shift. It's really a mind shift. And so we talk about emotional fitness. Emotional fitness is just, do you have the resources, a supportive system around you to help you in growing your business and starting your business? And then mental fitness with all of the different things that'll come your way. Either you get a complaint on your business, you get someone to have different questions, or you need to grow in your business. You feel like you're a little stuck. So that's kind of the mental fitness. And financial fitness is if you have the resources. Of course, everybody needs the financial backing to start a business. And so we discussed those different topics. And here at the SBDC, we like to help you define your business. So we like to set up your vision for what's in the future, what's at stake. The different possibilities that can come, the outcomes, just setting what's your purpose of getting into business? Is it to help people? Is it to make a lot of money? People have different objectives and goals. So, we really help plan for that business that you have. It could be in construction, it could be in a restaurant, it could be in e-commerce, it could be, very different kind of businesses. So We discussed the feasibility. Is this even possible? If you're creating an invention, right? We've had clients who are creating inventions and they have to structure it in a way that they're able to receive income from that. Is it viable and is it desirable? Is it on the marketplace? Is there a need for it? Is basically what we're saying. So the unique selling proposition here is really what defines you. So you may be in a niche where it's a very specific business type. So like what defines you and what makes your business so special. That's just when we speak about competitors. You might be going into a business where people have already done it, and that might demotivate you. But we really discuss what makes you so special. What's your value proposition? Like, how are you able to treat your clients, the customer service that you provide, maybe the timeliness of a record keeping, the way you're supplying payments, whether it's online or still, doing the cash register, things like that. So what really makes you special? And that's why we have this little star here is like, when you go into business or an entrepreneur, you're gonna feel like, you know, it's like something so strange. It's like you're doing something new. You feel like you're an island, but really it's just that it's make what's so special about you. Gotta take this off here. All right. So now we're going to speak about the legal forms of business. So there's different types, and picking one is really important to what your business is. So here are the different types. We have a sole proprietorship. There's a partnership. There's a corporation. There's an S corp, and then there's an LLC and an LLP. So I'll dive more into these in the next slides, but these are kind of the basic ones that we usually help our clients with, and that we see that clients are in need of. So you might fit in one of these categories, and each one is dependent on what you're doing. So, and before we get into that, I want to just briefly touch on the four pillars of deciding what legal structure you need. So each of them is a trade-off between these four things, which is liability, which is your protection, how you're protecting your assets, your personal bank accounts, maybe a house, a car, things like that. And then another pillar is taxes. How much taxes are you going to pay? And then whether you have control in the business, you may have partners that you need to make decision with. And then you have the paperwork, which is complexity. The more structured it is, the more complex it will be. There's more paperwork involved. So those are some things that you need to think about. Okay. Um, so the first one, which is the sole proprietorship, as you can see, is kind of just the solo act. You decide you're going for something, and you feel like you have some knowledge, some maybe a license, and you can definitely do it on your own. So this is the simplest form of business. There's no legal distinction between the owner and the business. So you and the business are one. So there's no formal filing, unless you use a DBA, which a DBA just means doing business as, and you get that certificate with the Suffolk County Clerk's Office, which is roughly around $35 or something like that. But it's very inexpensive to start, and you can get started today, something like that. But it is a double-edged sword. So you get 100% of the profits of what you're doing in business, but you also get 100% of the risk. So in this example, if the business is sued, the owner's personal assets are on the line. So for example, your house and car, things like that. So, that's something to think about. And so the sunset problem, that just means, so God forbid something happens to you and the business will dissolve when you dissolve. So when you pass, the business passes. That's basically what it is. There's no perpetual existence to the business. I've had some clients that's they didn't know if their father's business was still operational, but he was a sole proprietorship, so it dissolved when he passed. So um, an example, so if the business owes 10,000, that means that you owe 10,000. But this is perfect for low risk side hustles.
I have a question on that.
Oh, okay. So we have a question here. So I'm gonna take a break.
The DBA, you said which office to fill it with?
Okay, yeah. So person here asked for where do you file the DBA? So the DBA, you file that in the Suffolk County Clerk's office,
Okay.
which is in Riverhead. You can do it online or you can mail a check to them. But you can find that on the Suffolk County Clerk's office website. So,
Great, thank you.
so if there's any questions?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on here. So a partnership, this is our next kind of distinction of structure. So this is really a shared journey. So this could be two or more people, maybe it's you and your friend, and you guys want to go into business for profit. So maybe that friend is really specializing in something or has more knowledge. So, that's why there would be a partnership. Um, it's like a sole proprietorship because really this doesn't take much to get started. And so the profits and the losses are going to be shared. So this is the most important thing if you guys are getting into a partnership is to have an agreement with that person. Because if partner A signs a bad contract, then partner B will be legally responsible for paying it off, even if they didn't know about it. That's an important piece right there is for you guys to know is if you are in a partnership, if you are in a partnership right now, I would recommend getting into a partnership agreement that'll detail, the terms of your partnership. So it's really important because if you don't have one, then state laws like the UPA, Uniform Partnership Act, is going to decide how your business is run. And if you invested more, or if you're doing more work, or the other person is doing more work, either way, the partners are going to the partners generally split profits and losses equally. So this is we see a lot of I would say turnover with this type of structure because a lot of friendships do end in the court because either someone made a mistake, and like I said, someone could pick up their stuff today, move to a different state, or they can move to a different country, and then you may be stuck with all of the liability of that partnership journey. So definitely recommend getting a partnership agreement if you're going to go into a partnership. Okay, so C Corp, C Corporation, this is a legal person. So this is a completely separate legal entity owned by shareholders and overseen by a board of directors. So this is an actual person in the eyes of the law. This will offer the strongest personal asset protection. And like I said about the four pillars, the complexity of this is a lot more. There's more paperwork involved. But in that same regard, there's also more liability protection. Like it says there, it offers the strongest personal asset protection. So a key detail here is also the double taxation. So in a corporation, the profits that you make in a business are going to be taxed at the corporate level, and then shareholders are then going to pay taxes again on the dividends they receive. So with the C Corp, it's like the business is going public or needing shareholders to invest in their company. So this is really good for businesses who are planning to go public in the future, which is an IPO. And general like Shark Tank style funding, if you guys can think about it that way. But venture capitalists and banks prefer corporations because they have a clear structure for issuing their stock and raising potentially millions. So that's the gold standard of the C Corp is that you have unlimited potential, but in the same regard, you do have limited risk. So that's one thing to think about as well. Does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, so no questions, so we'll move on from here. Okay, so the S corporation, this is a tax strategy. So it's a tax designation for a corporation. So they elect to pass corporate income losses, deductions, and credits through to their shareholders for federal tax purposes. Um, and so the detail here, the key detail is that you can only have 100 shareholders, and they can only be US citizens or residents only. So what this in this S corp, usually someone who goes into an S corp, they'll pay themselves a reasonable salary, which that reasonable salary will tax at a W-2, so personal income tax rate, and then they'll take the rest as a distribution. What the S corp does, it avoids the double taxation from what a C corp does. So, all the profits will pass through to the owner's personal tax returns. So that's one of the benefits of having an S corp as well. Okay, so an LLC, this is a limited liability company. So this is I added a picture here of football players because everyone involved will be protected. Their personal assets will be protected. So you can think about it as a team. And you have partners, you have managers, but you can also be a solo member, manage LLC as well. But all your personal assets will be protected. So this combines the liability protection of a corporation with tax flexibility of a partnership. So all of the owners, they'll be called members. It's very popular for small to mid-sized businesses. And so you have the flexibility of being taxed as a sole proprietorship, partnership, or even an S corp. And each LLC needs to have an operating agreement. So this document is like your constitution. And it allows members to split profits however they choose, however they want, regardless of ownership percentage. And a really important detail, I think there's only about 3 states in the United States which they require a publication requirement, which here in New York State, that'll be required. So there's 2 newspapers that you need to speak with. So one daily, which usually here in Suffolk County will be Newsday, and then one weekly, which will be in the township that you are located in. And you can find these approved publications in the Suffolk County Clerk's website as well. So for this, it'll be 6 consecutive weeks, and you need to do it in 120 days of formation. Otherwise, you'll be suspended of authority to do business in state. So this is a publication requirement, and you can't leave this off for a future date. As soon as you open LLC, we recommend just go straight for the newspapers and just get that off your plate. Is there any questions on this one? Okay, so we'll keep moving here.
Someone asked, will we receive a copy of the presentation? Will you email the slides afterwards?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. So someone asked if they'll receive the copy of the presentation. So I think Kayla will get the emails and then we'll send that out to you guys.
Someone asked, can you say more about what type of publications we can publish in?
Okay, so yeah, so about the publications, so going to the Suffolk County Clerk's website, they actually have the certified publications that you can go to. The daily, it'll always be Newsday, so you'll just contact them, and you can either email them or shoot them a quick call, and you tell them, I need to fill this publication requirement, and then they'll give you the whole process for it. Same thing for the township. They kind of know because they're kind of comfortable with doing that, so you just call them up and you tell them what's required, what do I need to do, and they'll give you the whole breakdown of what needs to be possible. So
Is this different for someone living in New York City versus Long Island? This person's located in the city.
yeah, so this is a New York State requirement. So that's a good question. I mean, New York City does have their different rules and regulations, but I don't know, Gifty, if you're there,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
about?
So it's like David said, it's a New York State filing. So depending on where you live, he mentioned Suffolk County because we are in Suffolk County. If you're in Nassau County, it would be which newspapers are doing it there. So depending on where you are, which area you are, and for Suffolk County, it will be one daily paper, which is Newsday, and every township has a listing of the papers, weekly paper that they publish in. It's standard language. They give you a price, and you pay, and that's how it goes. They give you an affidavit that you have done it after you've completed the 6 weeks. You turn the affidavit back to the state, and then you get that certificate of publication. If you're in Nassau County, it depends on where you are and which papers are offering it. So it depends on where you are in New York State and which newspapers are in that particular county or township you are. So we are in Suffolk County, so he gave Suffolk County as an example. But it's statewide. It's a rule for New York State, regardless of where you are. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, she said thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Gifty.
Thank you.
I couldn't have said any better. So we'll move on here. The next one is a PLLC. I decided to add this because we had a client that was asking about this. And so this is a professional LLC. It's the same thing as getting an LLC. The only thing here is so the members, they have to be licensed professionals. So think about attorneys, accountants, architects, anybody in the medical profession, they're licensed. And so what this is like the partners are not personally liable for the malpractice or negligence of other partners. So you may be getting into business with other licensed professionals. And so you'll be shielded from your partner's mistakes, but you'll still be liable for your general debts of the business and your own mistakes. Another thing about this is that if you do have a license, it is a process to get this done. So with that, you have to be with the Department of Education, and they have to approve your license and check to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So that usually takes about another 2 months to get this all set up. And so this one takes a little longer, but it's the same as the LLC. You'll still have to do the publication requirements, and well, you still have the liability protection as well.
Someone asked, does a PLCC shield for a licensed real estate broker?
That is a good question for a licensed real estate broker. I don't know, Gifty, have you worked with any licensed real estate brokers who go into a PLLC?
Okay, so the PLLC really is for professionals, certain professionals, and the listing would be on the Department of State website, such as attorneys, accountants, architects, medical, like social workers, specific professions only. And don't think real estate would fall under that, but we can send you the link and you can review all the listings of the specific professions would be listed there. It's something that you get licensed by the Department of Education. They give you that certificate at the end of it all. So if you are a medical doctor, you would have to go there, accountants, attorneys. I'm not sure if real estate would fall under that.
Yeah, she muted herself.
Oh, Gifty, I think you muted yourself.
Sorry about that. Was I muted the whole time? I hope not.
Last like 3 seconds.
Okay. Right. So we could send you that link. It will be right there on the Department of Education website, and you could see which professions actually can form that PLLC.
Which one is recommended for a real estate agent?
Yeah, so someone asked for a real estate agent. It really depends on how much you are making, if you have other agents. But I guess just shooting off the dark here, I would say an LLC would be really good for a real estate agent.
Right, a domestic LLC, simple
LLC.
LLC, yes.
All right, so I guess we'll move on here. And so here are the pros and cons of each of the entities I just spoke about. So sole proprietorship, it's simple, low cost setup, but you have full control, and then you have pass-through taxation. The cons are that you have unlimited personal liability, which is it'll be harder to raise capital, and then it dissolves with the owner. A partnership, easy to form, shared resources, expertise, and pass-through taxation. The only thing here with the cons is unlimited liability. For general partners, you have shared decision-making, and the profit sharing conflicts are possible. This is why we say get that partnership agreement if you will be going into a partnership. A corporation, C Corp, limited liability, easier to attract investors, and there is a perpetual existence. And some cons is that it's double taxed, and it's a complex setup, and there's some compliance in there, and then there's also a formal governance required, which just means that there's bylaws in the business, and there's meeting minutes and board members. S Corp, this is limited liability, avoids double taxation, potential self-employment tax savings. This is where you pay yourself a reasonable salary, and then the rest is taken as distribution. So the cons of this is IRS ownership restrictions, more paperwork, stricter rules on compensation. This is where that reasonable salary comes in. Limited liability is the same thing as the PLC. There's limited liability, flexible management, pass-through or corporate tax option. The cons is setup costs are higher than the sole prop. There's state fees, taxes vary. Limited investor appeal. So because there's a lot of LLCs that are open, the setup is for that is usually around $1,000 to set up an LLC.
Someone asked business registered under LLC.
Oh yeah, so people usually get different DBAs under their LLC, so they may have different products involved with their business. So and they can be completely separate, but you know the parent company will be the LLC. Did that kind of answer your question?
She said yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so now that we moved on from the structures, now we're going to go into what is an EIN, a tax ID number. So an EIN is an employer identification number. It's a unique 9-digit number. It's assigned by the IRS to identify the business or your business for tax purposes. So yeah, just think of it like a social security number for your business. Just like with your social security number, how you do taxes, there is the same thing for business. So employer identification number, that's what that is. And you need one if you're starting a business, hiring employees, opening a business bank account, or filing certain federal tax returns. So you can get this EIN number from the IRS website. It's completely free and it's instant. Yeah, are there any questions for this one?
Someone asked, do you need an EIN for a partnership?
Ship. Yeah, actually, that is a good question. There is pass-through in the partnership, so it would pass through to each member. Gifty, which I have a question here. So
The EIN is for the business entity regardless. So the EIN is for the business, not the individuals. So it's created for you by the IRS. So it's the business that owns that EIN number, not the individuals. So if you're a sole proprietor, you have an EIN number. If you're an LLC, you have an EIN number, regardless of the number of people in the LLC. It's just that one number for that business. So it's like he said, a social security number for the business, regardless of the number of people owning the business. Did I get the question right? If you're an EIN for a partnership, so the EIN is for that business, the partnership, the entity. Is it clear, or should I expand
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah, we got an answer. Thank you, Gifty.
Thank you.
Here. All right, so now for your business, does your business, whatever you do, whatever you're operating in, does it need a license and does it need a permit? There are industries where they're really heavily regulated, so it's possible that you may need more than one. Um, and so there's federal, state, and local agencies, each may have those different regulations, those different laws. So it's possible that you may need multiple licenses. And so when you come to the SBDC, we'll help you work with those, seeing if you need more licenses, and we'll get that straightened away. But this is something you need to think about as you're starting a business, or if you're in business and you want to expand, what are the extra licenses that you need? Or if you're getting a building, permits are involved with that. So. Okay, so for your business, we think about what are your products and services? What are you actually offering to the public, to individuals, to the marketplace? So what is it that you're actually selling? And there could be vendors that you're working with, that you're partnering with, and they have their own terms. What is the scope of work that you're working with them? How long you're going to be working with them? So that really goes into your pricing, making sure that you're actually making a profit, because you don't want to have more expenses than what you're actually making. And then there's also collecting New York State sales tax, which if you are selling, you have to collect sales tax, and that is just getting a certificate of authority. And there's also another one which is called the resale certificate. So in New York, a resale certificate is officially known as Form ST-120. It's a document that allows a business to buy inventory or services tax-free, provided those items are intended for resale. Okay, so now your market planning. So we move on to the market planning. And here at the New York SBDC, we do have a research network. So we have a team that can conduct market research for you. So if you don't know what your target market is, maybe industry trends, what's your competition, maybe in a local area, we have a research network that can they have paid databases. It's completely no cost to you as a client. Once you become a client, you have this ability to utilize this resource and to define what are those target market, your trends, and your competition, and some other like business plan templates. What are the best practices to start a business, marketing tools, things like that. So it's a really great resource, and one of the great things that the SBDC offers. So market planning. So you think about your brand and your image. What is it that you want to portray to people? And your logo says a lot about your image. So we say it's possible you may need to spend a little more money, but that'll build your reputation and your quality if you do plan to provide a bigger service, expand more. So we also create marketing materials. You create marketing materials. So working on your website, social media like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, how to use those things, and so reviews are really important. So you see the reviews on there. People actually look at those, but as we all know, there's always that one person that maybe gives bad reviews. But that's where we talk about the mental fitness. Are you able to work past that and provide a better service, or meet that person's complaints? So that's one of those things. So that's important. And if you want to be you basically, when you become a business owner, you become like the salesperson of your business. It's your vision, it's your product and your service. So how do you want to expose that to everybody else? How do you want to get people involved in your business or get people to purchase your product or your services? Um, so another important thing is trade associations. If you join trade associations, networking, joining your local chambers, those are also important because they can maybe recommend you to other business owners or other people, and maybe you have a presentation to give, and an opportunity comes along, and you're able to present what you do. So now marketing strategy. So here's 4 Ps. So packaging. So packaging is basically your brand value. Like, what is your materials? You can see it in Apple, like they have a very, their packaging is just it makes you feel like it's a very good quality product, but we know that's not the only computers out there. If it's a MacBook, you have Lenovo's, but like you feel like it's a very quality product, and sometimes you even save those boxes. I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes save like the iPhones, my MacBook boxes because it's just like a really quality product. And so, those are one things that you think about. Like once the product officially comes to the end user, how is that person going to feel about those materials? And you think about the eco nowadays is how do they feel about like you using plastic um, and other materials that are not so good for the environment? So promotion. So this is your brand awareness. Again, like we were saying, the marketing is if you're utilizing ads, maybe you have to pay for ads, go on the on the Google advertising. And then social media, are you posting every day? Usually when you do social media and you want to work with the algorithm so that it goes out to more people, we say that posting at least 2 times a day, because that'll work the algorithm, even if you're getting a couple of views or a couple likes in the first couple of posts. But if you keep posting and posting, the algorithm works so that it goes into more people. Because those companies, they make it so that people are on those things all the time. So if you're posting and garnering that attention, it's just gonna fill your audience. And so pricing. So there is the quality and then there's the bargain. So maybe you have t-shirts, you're selling t-shirts and it's a bargain. Sure, that may be great, but the quality goes down as well. Like maybe in 2 or 3 washes, the quality goes down. In other terms, quality, it could be a very good t-shirt and it'll not wear down in so many washes. Um, so that's something about pricing as you think about, are you providing a quality product? Is your service good enough to actually provide that price? And so the next one is position. So why you? Why should we think about your product or your service, or what makes you memorable to other people? This is your strategy. And that's why getting involved with different networking events, getting in front of people is really good because they start thinking about you. They think, oh, this person maybe works in, for example, we have someone here in photography, going to the networking events, and then speaking to people. Oh, what do they do? And then they think about, oh, I know someone in photography. I'll hit them up. I'll call them. And so that's kind of your position. So, and then we have the SWOT analysis, which is thinking about your strengths, thinking about your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So each person here that is involved here has some strengths. We also have weaknesses, but every day we do have opportunities, and so we really think about those things. And sometimes there's threats, which is just your competition, what is happening in the market, what's happening globally. There could be a federal regulation that makes your price go down on a certain product that you're offering. Maybe it's in like a pesticide, something with the agriculture, I forget what it's called, but the agriculture federally, they put out a law, and then that makes your price go down, or maybe you can't meet a vendor's terms. So we really think about the SWOT analysis. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, your opportunities and threats?
Someone asked, you recommend posting 2 times a day on how many platforms?
Oh, that's a good question. So someone asked about posting 2 times a day. So yeah, that's just like my personal recommendation. But we have seen other people when they start doing that, um, it really boosts their viewing. It doesn't matter really what platform, as long as you're doing the posting. And then you work with each one, see which one is actually given the attention. For example, for TikTok, that's very short forms of video content, and people just want something really quick to see. So maybe you want to explain something or educate people and train people. So maybe that's not the best platform. Or you can use Facebook if you're training, or Instagram. It really depends on what your industry is. So yeah, so Instagram is more like videos, pictures. So maybe you have a restaurant, you can post your food, your restaurant, your building, um, videos of you cooking the food. Um, yeah, so I would say with social media, people are actually now they actually want to see a lot of things. So don't be afraid to show them what you do on a daily basis. So it could be actually setting up for an event. You may be hosting a certain event. And for this restaurant example, you start packaging, you start putting into the van, like all that is content, and you can record it and then actually show the person from the packaging to putting into the vehicle and then to go into the event and then actually at the event. So each one of those is like the content in themselves, and you can post on those different topics.
But thank you. I'm also just answering her question because experience with that as well.
So yeah, we have Kayla, she's great with marketing too. So
Just writing something out.
yeah. So we'll keep going here. Okay, so now we're talking about funding, money. So the question is, how much money do you actually need to start? As a sole prop, sometimes you don't really get a lot of money. You may already have all the equipment that you need, and all you just need is the clients, or maybe just transportation and get to the places where clients are. But here, we're going to determine your startup costs. How much does it take to start this business? Maybe you're leasing equipment. How much will that take and for how long? Um, so that's kind of determining what you need to start. And so there is a truth about grants. It's basically not for everyone, but it's all about timing and opportunity and whether you fit the grant's terms and when a grant comes out. So there's grants, there's deadlines, and so if you meet the requirements, that's usually when you go for that grant. So here at the SBDC, we have professionals who are able to calculate your cash flow projections. So if you're going for funding at a bank or an investor, they sometimes want to see you project your cash flow. So what are your expenses for a month, and then for the year, and then we project that out for 3 years in advance. And then we also have the market industry reports that are able to determine sometimes if you don't know a number, let's say of sales that you're going to make, maybe we can find industry reports of how it calculates out what's the average of you making money in a certain business. And so we'll project that out for you.
Someone asked, where do you find all of the available grants?
Grants. Yeah, so there are some websites. I know I've utilized in the past nyc.grants. That's one of those databases that helps you look for grants. But we can also do a research research network and look for the grants in your specific industry and see if there's any available, which we've had a lot of success in finding people grants. So yeah, don't be afraid to reach out and then we can find those for you. So, and also when you're starting up, you want to include also your working capital for the 6 to 12 months because anything could really happen within those 6 to 12 months. Maybe you're getting a lot of more expenses and you don't want to be left in a position where you don't have any money available or cash available, to meet your basic needs. So definitely including your working capital for the 6 to 12 months so that once your business is up and running, it's able to basically provide for you. All right, so our next topic is financing your business. So there are 5 C's, so lending requirements. These are basically the requirements for lenders. And it's your capacity to repay a loan. It's the capital investment that you provide. It's the collateral that you may have, maybe a house, maybe a car, maybe some other, I know some people maybe do stock, things like that. What are the conditions? So what is the conditions means is your business plan. So again, think about the value proposition, who is involved in your business, what's your target market, your demographics, who are you going for? Do you know where you're going to sell? Do you have a place located where you can operate from, or you're operating from your own home? Is it a home-based business? These are the conditions that you put in a business plan, and lenders do want to see this because it goes back to the capacity to repay. Are you able to repay whatever financing that you receive? Another part is character. This is really important. People don't want to do business with someone who's not doesn't have a good character or have experience or good credit. So experience is generally good because the lenders can see, oh, this person knows what they're doing, they knows what they're talking about, they have the competencies. And so that's one of those things that they look at. And obviously credit is obviously really important for lenders. Okay, so diving in a little more to the business plan. So for those who don't know what a business plan is, it's a working document, but it's like a blueprint that explores what your business is. So the business plan has an executive summary and a statement of purpose. It also has a company description, your products and your services, a market analysis, a marketing and sales strategy, an operations plan, management and organization, the financial projections and sources and uses of funds. And sometimes in the appendix, it's good to add the resume, photos, contracts, marketing materials, things that you already have in place or in store, or you made a relationship with someone with the contracts. It's always good. It's good to have the contracts in there because it shows that, oh, this person is actually serious about this business and they actually have something going for them. And photos, again, back to the character, and resumes about the experience that you have in the industry. These are all things that will help the lender decide, should I give this person money, or the investor, should I give this person money? Okay, so there's top 10 reasons why a small business fail. And so we're going to go over these. So number one, there's no long range business plan. Sometimes they just start the business plan and they don't look out into the future. They don't create the goals for the next months, the next year. And so there's no long range plan. And so sometimes they get stuck and don't know what to do. Number two, underestimating your financing need. Sometimes you think you're okay with the amount that you have, but it was probably really underestimated. And so that's one of the reasons as well. Failing to establish a banking relationship. We like to say this is kind of maybe the number one relationship you have in business is your banking relationship. And so that goes both ways. So does the bank offer you different products? Does the bank communicate with you? And so there's multiple banks and you can shop around. Don't be afraid to ask the questions that you have and to be feel comfortable with the bank that you're working with. Because that's the most important thing that you're going to be dealing and having the income come in, things like that. No management training. So no management training is maybe don't know how to set an expectation to your employees. So management training is part of your business because the business will be you. You're focused on your vision. You know where you're going, but sometimes your employees they don't have the same goal or vision. So management is sometimes really important. Incorrect pricing. Again, like we said, the quality versus the bargain. Um, and the location of where you're actually operating from. It doesn't make sense for people to spend a little more. Are they able to spend a little more? And so the incorrect pricing, that's something that, or maybe you're offering your services too low, for the stuff that you do, the quality that you provide. Going back to the value proposition, what makes you unique? So definitely figuring out what your pricing is. And then lacking timely and accurate record keeping. So having things like a CRM involved with clients, taxes, your expenses, making sure things flow properly. So that's really important as well. Setting deadlines for things, getting those things done in a timely fashion. So if it takes 2 minutes, you get it finished in 2 minutes, and then you move on to the next thing. And then extending too much credit with poor collections. That's a really business fail there. Lacking a clearly defined marketing strategy, hiring inappropriate employees. Again, like I said, you are the face of your business, but also the employees are kind of like that first person that they're going to see. So if you're hiring inappropriate employees, that really says a lot about what your business is and how much you take care of other customers. And going to the reviews, they sometimes post about that. Or maybe this employee was acting so harsh. We've seen them, they act so harsh, and I wouldn't recommend going to that place again. And then reluctance to spend a little more money for professional help. So we like to say like if it takes a little more money to spend on things, but it actually provides you value, it's actually a good worth your money because maybe you need the accountant, maybe you need the attorney, maybe you need the marketing help, setting up a website. So that's one of those things where it's like you're investing into your business. Okay, so now that we talked about the failures, let's talk about the success. So how do you improve your chances for success? So yeah, definitely know what you're getting into. And then raise as much money as you can. Don't be afraid to ask for people for money. That's maybe one of those things that sometimes people are afraid of. They're afraid of asking for money. Be frugal. So just focus on your value and stay lean in the beginning because it's a startup. You're starting from the foundation, and you don't want to spend so much where you don't have operating capital or you can't meet your needs, things like that. So definitely check your costs. Line up customers before you start. So do you have that clientele with you in order to operate and do your business? Choose a business with low startup costs. And then get a job in the industry first. That experience really helps. And maybe it even tells you, do you really want to go into business for this industry? So that's sometimes important. It's like we tell people, get a job and see how it works out. And then if you really like it, then, you go all in. But, it proves your chances and the experience and the people that you'll meet and the professionals that you'll meet. So that's really important. And then be careful about all the agreements you make. Definitely, like this is a lot of people don't read the fine print, and maybe there's a word in there that could definitely change your whole perspective. Like even in or could change the whole thing. Like maybe they want to offer you this or this happens. So making sure you know what your agreements are and nothing happens to you personally. And then join the trade or industry association. That really helps because it's in your local area and you're able to serve that community. And sometimes just be willing to wait a little bit. We like to say it's all about timing and opportunity. So we've seen in the past that people created amazing inventions, but maybe it wasn't the time for that year or decade. But maybe it was if they waited a little longer, they would have found the perfect place to actually explode into a big business. So that's one of those things where just be willing to wait a little more. Maybe you need a little more knowledge, more resources. You want to feel comfortable when you start, but you also want to take advantage of those opportunities. And then plan. Again, going back to that business plan, it's really good for you just to know on paper what are your goals and what are you looking for in the future. And also get help. So here at the SBDC, we can definitely offer those services to help you and to workshop or work through what your ideas are and just get you on level ground. Okay, so yeah, so again, our costs are no cost help and they're confidential. So each one-on-one meeting is confidential as part of the agreements that you guys fill out. And we're available here at the Stony Brook Small Business Development. And like we say is you're in business for yourself, but you don't have to be doing it alone. So that's why we're here to provide that assistance. That's why the SBA provides a lot of money so that we're able to provide this for the economy, for making our communities grow stronger. So this is our number. This is where you can find us on the website. And if you guys wanted to contact us, you guys can also scan our website. And then to make an appointment, you can scan the middle one. And then if you want to join our mailing list, which we update those every week on Friday, you can join that mailing list. We have a lot of different information, different workshops, maybe some funding opportunities, some things that will help you guys in your business. So definitely take advantage of those as you guys wish. And if you guys have any additional questions, we're free here to ask for a little bit.
It's 10 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, really? It's 10 o'clock. Wow. Look at that.
Okay, so I was going through the chat and I saw a few questions, unless I missed that. Someone had asked, can you have more than one business registered under LLC? Was that answered or?
Yeah. We
It
answered that
was?
one.
You did answer that? Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, unless you want to add a little more to that. I just said it was, you can have an LLC and then have DBAs under it.
Yes,
So
definitely. That's the
Yeah.
answer. That's perfect. Thank you. I missed that. Okay. Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Great information. You're welcome.
Any questions?
No,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
All right, so well, thank you guys for taking the time to join our workshop here. It was a pleasure to have you guys here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we look forward to making an appointment with you and see you guys in the future.
Thank you.
Oh, someone said,
Oh, is that a question?
would there be different EIN for the DBA?
Okay, so let me answer that. The LLC has an EIN number, and that's it. Every entity can have one EIN number. You need an EIN number if you have employees, if it's a partnership, if it's a corporation, multi-member LLC, but the entity is what gets that EIN number. The DBAs are under that LLC, so they cannot have EIN numbers. The LLC just has the one EIN number, and you're going to file taxes under that one LLC. All the DBAs are going to be under that LLC to file the annual tax return. So the simple answer is the DBAs under the LLC do not have EIN numbers. It's only the LLC that has the EIN number. Is that good? Is that understood? Should I expand on that or?
All good.
It's good. Thank you.
All right, so I guess that wraps it up for us. Thank you guys again, and we hope to see you guys in the future.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Your share. And then you give it to on the bottom right.
Thank you, Gifty, again.
Thank you, Gifty.
Thank you. I think I
Thank
Thank you,
just,
Gifty. Great job.
thank you. Oh, no,
Teamwork.
thank you, David. Thumbs up.
Yes, definitely.
You did
Okay,
great.
guys. All
Thank
right.
you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.